bomb and they, terrorized. They're just this grit. It's like the United States is that big old dog that has his own house and they've been fed every day, and then he goes out and gets beat up by this little dog who has to strap and feed himself every day. It's literally that. That's who they are. When they are unleashed and there is nobody that's saying, please hold yourself accountable. Nick, my gentle reminder to you. 4 o'clock. All right, here we go. I call the 20 minutes. I call to order the counties of Warren and Washington Industrial Development Agency meeting on 16 June 2025 at 4 p.m. Ally, roll call, please.
Jenny Sullivan, Nick Caimano, Kevin Mahoney, Jim Nolan, Tim Robinson, Juan Gonzalez.
Here.
We have a quorum. We have 6 out of 10.
Great. And we'll move to number 2, the approval of the May 19th IDA board meeting and the June 4th special meeting minutes. I will open up the floor for any questions. Nick.
I'm just putting on the floor.
Great. All right. I entertain a motion. Nick's first. Second.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, abstaining, no questions? Great. Motion carries. Moving on, we'll turn it over to the treasurer for the treasurer's report.
Sure, you have in your package on page 2, the accounts payable. The $25,039.33 going out. Let me know if you have any questions, but we also have in addition 6 more payables that we're looking to add to the agenda. For wetland consulting services, $405 to NCS. Our audit balance due to EFPR of $2,000. Look at this. And this is new. This is not on the report. Oh, okay. And needs to be added to the report to be approved today. Yeah, no, EFPR is $22,000. Fitzgerald Morris Baker Firth for services, 1734, $950 of it is reimbursement. Village of Fort Edward for the water bills, $125. We split that with WCC. Michigan Millers Mutual Insurance, so it's our commercial insurance for canal side, 186308, Falls Farm Card, 11939. That's more repair and service. So our combined total is $31,285.80.
There are not any questions. I will entertain a motion to accept the payables with the additions discussed.
Just a quick question.
Sure.
Is it right to take this form, especially this form, and have it in a graph way, month to month, so we, at a moment, we can see that, First National Bank, is now $9,000 instead of $340. Is that something to do?
That would work.
No,
Yeah,
it would be a lot of work.
it's out of work. Yeah. I mean, what you're doing is proving these for this month only.
That's right.
What your goal for looking at past would be what? See the front trends?
Yeah.
My suggestion maybe is to save these,
Not worth it.
save these each board meeting and do your own little comparison and then we'll answer any questions.
Okay,
That would be easier because otherwise it's an additional spreadsheet.
when's the end of the fiscal year?
Yeah, we're counting.
Calendar year, right? So maybe we should do that, starting the first of the year ourselves.
I respectfully think that's extra work that may not be necessary. So just, it's a lot of work. I mean, we could do a download from QuickBooks at the end of the year and do all the vendors for every category.
All right.
That'd be the easy way to do it rather than trying to put this, because there are so many vendors that would be very long and very wide. A lot of work.
Okay,
around.
that's fine.
We can do a download in QuickBooks.
Okay.
Just for Kevin's edification, as he is our newest board member, if you happen to want to go back to that last, 8 to 12 board meetings and you pulled it, the biggest variations you're gonna see is from the grant. We've got all the expenditures from the grant that have to get paid, and then a month or two later, all of a sudden the revenue comes, and so much of the fluctuation that Nick might be looking to see it is gonna be because we've got these huge influx of bills from the grants. So that otherwise, pretty much, it has been pretty steady, month over month.
Want to see how, I see the name every time up there,
Yeah.
and I only see 1,000 this one, but it was 10,000. That's not.
No.
Well, the other thing to be aware of is 3 sets of eyes see every bill. These 3 people here see every bill. So there's that extra layer. It's not just one person.
Yeah, but you go to lunch and visits too. So no.
Yeah.
No, I just want to know, should we have it? And you're going, so that's fine.
Well,
Thank you.
we can bring it to the year-end meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah, we could do a download report off QuickBooks.
Great. All right, with that, once again, I will entertain a motion to accept the payables with the, Jim first, second, Nick.
back.
For the record, Brian Campbell is here.
Great.
This one needs to get further than I thought.
We will take a roll call vote on the payables.
Brian, would you like to vote on the payables? I know you weren't here for the conversation.
But I have seen them.
Okay.
Was that to me, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
So it's
Okay,
6 add-ons to 31,000 versus 25,000. All the standard monthly items.
okay. So that's a yes.
Yes.
Approve. Okay, Jenny Sullivan,
Yes.
Nick Caimano,
Yes.
Kevin Mahoney,
Yes.
Jim Nolan,
Yes.
Tim Robinson,
yes.
and Juan Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Year-to-date financials, Tim.
Sure, on page 3, it starts the balance sheet. We have a checking account balances of 2.4 million, pretty healthy, cash position. Very minimal liabilities, very strong balance sheet with, net assets that are unrestricted, $14 million. That's the balance sheet, page 3 and 4. Page 5 is a 1-month income statement. I'm not gonna. I go over your date in that statement. Just briefly. Sure. The income streams that we have coming in, total investment earnings year to date through May, almost 33,000. And outside lease income year to date, 160,000 rounding up, and total charges for services related to canal site, 206,000. I'm sorry, those are project fees, new and existing, and some rail usage. Total for that service, all the service, is on this. Total income 399, almost 400,000. Days paid through the bank. Then on the other page, page 9, I'm going to point out a few things that will adjust our financials as we move forward. Through the adjustments that were made by the CPAs and Doc Karen, bookkeeper, and Allie, Chuck, and myself, organization, more Allie and Chuck, have done a great job in getting these financials in order. The $377,000 in net income is overstated by $200, a little over $200,000, because of reimbursable. If you look at page 9, line 7009.1, reimbursable, $117,208, it's a negative expense. That was part of 24's costs expended in 24, but we haven't got the money. We'll get it 25. And then Fast New York reimbursable, 11,204 is another one. That we'll get in 25. So there's accrual and cash basis accounting. We're moving to an accrual basis so we can properly reflect our net income year to date. Some of this will be cleaned up in 25, some will carry over to 26. Or I'm sorry, 26 should reflect all changes made. We should have a good handle on this forward. But there's one other one I'll bring your attention to, line item 66,900, very bottom, before total expenses, a minus 54,743. It represents an overpayment by Kiewit last year and a reconciliation that we needed to do to the income statement. So it lowered our expenses. Technically, you know, it's a non-cash expenditure, so we're looking at $194,000 net income here. Wanted to point those few things out. Certainly can answer any questions in regards.
So we're getting off the cash. Yeah, because government pretty much works. I mean,
Well, and the other thing coming up is we go through Fast New York, we're gonna have some big bills and big swings, so we have to do the accrual method so we don't see unnecessary chopping, especially
Well, we
over
should-
here.
we shouldn't switch back and forth.
Right, we're making a change for.
Right, we should stick, and this is partly to do with the bookkeeper too, and getting her on board, so.
And the FPR auditors.
Right, so we're all gonna be on the same page to once, so they're basically. They're corrections, but they're not falsehoods.
Correct.
That's, I guess that's what I wanted to bring to show that they're not wrong. It's just getting onto the proper method.
Yeah, we're doing lockstep, Busy Bee and with our own.
Okay. No, that's very good.
Should we ever write a motion accrual from now on or not?
We're okay according to our auditor, because we have some things we have been accruing. So now we're gonna accrue all these activities with the reimbursables.
No, I think it's just important that we know they're not mistakes.
Right.
Yeah.
They just have to be put in the proper format.
Mhm.
Very good.
Great. There are no further, discussion topics. I will entertain a motion to accept the zero-day financial. Judy, second. Brian, roll call vote, Wendy.
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Jenny Sullivan, Nick Caimano,
Yes.
Kevin Mahoney,
Yes.
Jim Nolan,
Yes.
John left us, Tim Robinson,
Yes.
Juan Gonzalez.
Yes,
Motion passes.
great. All right, moving on to, reports committee, appreciate the treasurer. Our chair is out in the town on the East Coast, so we will turn it over to Chuck.
Okay, good afternoon. I have a lot of updates. I'm trying to go through fast. If there are any questions, please interrupt. First, our canal side project updates. As we talked about in the past, Labella has received the approved change order for the new water system design. It's underway. Our critical path is going to be going underneath the railroad in the street. So right now they're focusing on engaging the railroad to get the design specs for that part of the design. Second issue is, with your package is a change order from Labella for modifying the engineering on the sewer system. We're modifying to an on-site treatment facility. We already had an agreement with Labella for the engineering, so they have changed the scope of engineering from connecting to the Washington County Sewer District to then doing an on-site facility. The good news is there's no change in cost, change in scope, and we wanted to make the board aware of this, and make sure everyone was in agreement with what we're doing and changing the scope of Labella. Any questions on that? And I will say, our park chair, Dan Bruno has reviewed this, reviewed last week and is in agreement.
Anything we need a resolution for, or just,
For the first change order, we did not have a formal vote. We just asked the board if there are any concerns. And again, the dollars are staying the same. If you look at the third page, there's a column that had the increases and decreases, and you see they net out at $32,000. Where the total contract with Bell will remain $717,700. Any questions? Okay, all right. We'll continue to roll. The third issue is, we are in correspondence with the National Grid Gas Connection Department in Albany about engineering work for bringing natural gas to the site. More to come. We just made the introduction to the right people last week. And then fourth, we're in correspondence with Canal Corp about modifying the East Street back entrance, temporary bridge detour that we'll be doing next spring. We now are having dialogue, and we'll probably be meeting with Canal Corp. They are suggesting we might need to do some modifications to the road for some of the heavier trucks going through that on a temporary basis. So we'll meet with them and we'll understand their specific concerns.
is there still any opportunity to go out 197? Or no?
Well, when you say go out to 197, we only have two entrances into the site,
Right.
196.
Can we cross 197, our East Street, and go right to 197? Since Canal Corp owns all that,
Our goal right now is just get to East Street.
yeah,
And
I
then you
understand.
can't go over that bridge because that's limited 10-ton bridge.
right,
So you have to go Baldwin Avenue, and then I think you skip over 197. So there are a few streets you have to go through in the village.
I think you could cut right across Canal Corp's land and hit Baldwin Avenue, right where 197 comes across the bridge. It's a very short distance, it's way better than a bridge.
Yeah, I think.
And I know
Talking
it'll
about
take
Long
time.
Canal.
It would take time to do that, but that time's still available before that bridge comes out if they force over.
Yeah, I'm not as familiar with the area as you are. We've been working with Washington County Transportation Department, who's been working on the detour. So again,
And I understand the detour might be necessary anyway, but if you stand right where the East Street Bridge is, and you can look right at
You
the
can see it.
197 bridge.
I think the quickest way is.
And I've walked that before. I don't think it's a quarter of a mile.
Right, it's along the canal, right?
Oh,
Yes,
Yeah.
you're talking creating an entire road.
Yeah, that's a
Is
dirt
that what
road.
you're trying to do?
yes.
Yeah, I think. that-
And it's the most feasible for the park if it's ever gonna become anything.
Right, but we're gonna have 18 wheelers going through for the grain shipments, so the dirt road is probably not adequate.
Well, I wouldn't want a dirt road. I'd like a paved
Oh, who's gonna pay for that?
road. Well, it's farm. I just think in the grand scheme of things, if what we're developing there is real, that there's all sorts of payments can be made there. And I think EDC, Corp, or whatever it's called, at the state level would love to do that.
Canal Corp, we could certainly ask.
Yeah, I think it's, I think there's even money in the state budget that might actually pay for that, that everyone's being quiet about.
Just as a heads up, we're 11 months away from having that in place. We have a little bit of a
Yeah,
limited timeframe to do something like that.
and that's what I'm thinking is they have time and opportunity if, and we're gonna know a lot of things by August. So I think that if all those things being equal, there's a huge opportunity there. And a road is far cheaper than a bridge. I guess is the way I look at it. And a through road is very advantageous for everybody involved.
Yeah, and again, we're just doing temporary access.
Yeah, and that may be necessary anyway, though.
Yeah,
I just wanna not lose sight of the future,
Right,
the big picture.
But I'm just trying to gather the big picture myself. So you're saying that there's a benefit to that going where? Not to 87.
Huge benefit to getting to 87.
Because if you take East Street, you're gonna be on. You're gonna end up on the same, you'll be taking a left instead of a right to get to the,
I would go
Rogers Area
straight.
Bridge, right?
I wouldn't be going left or right. I'd be going straight where you're talking about.
Baldwin to Argyle, taking a right on Argyle Street to Broadway, and then Broadway off the bridge over to exit 17. Then you're saying East Street, taking a left on the Broadway, then taking that right to the bridge all the way to 17. Trying to figure out the benefit there. Unless you're saying
The
that
benefit
East
is
Street
you're off
is,
all the village and you're off the hill by the school. Your benefit is your sewer and your water system, not taking that impact.
but if they take East Street to Baldwin, you're saying, and then Baldwin does the same thing, getting on the Baldwin just earlier without having to build a road, what's the
Yeah,
cost of the
we're
road?
not planning all the way down East Street. It's a detour. They only have to go partial East Street, take a left on the Baldwin.
On the Baldwin?
Yeah.
And then that gets out to
And the
that.
idea would be to never go on East Street, just cross it. That would be the
Right, that's
benefit.
what Brian's talking about. I just continue right down the canal.
Right, no,
But that's a dirt road.
It's a huge benefit to take all the truck traffic off of Route 4 on that hill. And to take all the truck traffic off East Street. Because right now, they all come in and they do McIntyre Hill,
Well,
which is pathetic.
and that is the same path as the proposed sewer district connection, and it was 6,000 feet. So it is about a mile. But we would have to construct a road for a mile to handle 18 wheelers. Yes, probably a couple $1 million.
And there's 100 million supposedly earmarked for the county for what is being deemed loss of the Great Meadow. So I don't know what percentage of that would be Washington County's, but I think that 2 million would be well spent in that area. That's,
Well,
you're talking 2% of 100 million.
I understand what you're saying, and you do too, but remember what we got in Queensbridge? How we didn't do the job right in the first place, so we can't get across from the Northway over to in Washington County, we gotta go to 149.
Right.
And all that kind of. We have a chance to do it but we don't have the money.
Well, also, this is a 4 months temporary access. It's not permanent, it's 4 month temporary access.
But when you're done, you have one-way traffic, which takes you a roundabout way back to the 87, which
Yeah,
is,
but who would handle that project? Certainly not us. Be the town, be the village, or be town court.
County,
could be, Canal Corp owns all that land the whole damn way. So I would think that would make sense for them to be involved because they could make it happen and it could be like a state truck route. It could even end up being a county truck. But I think a truck route to get the traffic out of those areas, because you're putting more stress on the water and sewer lines than you should be with this extra truck traffic.
So one thing we certainly do, we're gonna meet with Canal Corp to talk about getting from our gate to East Street. We can certainly ask them, would they be willing to do a road all the way down to the next bridge? We can ask.
Or at least willing to make it available to do a road for somebody. Whether it be state DOT, county, or whoever it is.
Right.
But I think that if you really want the canal park to be the best it can be, there should be through traffic to go either direction. And especially to the north wing, the quickest trip would be to go right to 197. And it's, like you said, it might be a mile. I don't think it's a mile. I've walked it. I don't believe it's that far, but maybe if the sewer district tells you.
Right, because past the bridge, you get to the sewer district, right? So we'll be on the bridge, so you're right, so it has to be less than 6,000. But we could certainly ask, again, Canal Corp, if you're interested. It certainly strategically be very good for the site, which I think is your point, to have a main access be from that direction as opposed to going all the way north.
Yeah, there's no point in going north if everything's going to 87.
We can.
Well, if you-
absolutely.
Basically, if we can only have one-way traffic, if that's all we can get, that's the best, but I would rather it was a through road as truck route. Because everything there is getting concentrated, that whole area, whether it's in Kingsbury or whatever, this really takes it out of even getting to Route 4. Any traffic that's coming from the east any traffic that's coming to 196 from Hartford could take that truck route and go right on through to 197. In other words, it's on the St. James Road, which is right before that.
Okay.
But with our actual park being there, and of course, we don't know what our park is going to become. But it, all of a sudden, that opens up all that area along the canal that's owned by individuals to become part of the park also. As far as being futuristic, that through road, if you look at the map, it's a no-brainer. And the only reason it comes to the north was because of the fight over the PCBs. Fort Edward basically said, you're not coming through our yard with the PCBs if you're making us dredge it. So they made it go through Kingsbury, which has caused Kingsbury and Fort Edward to actually not be fond of one another. One of them forced the issue on the other. And so that's where a lot of these things are instrumental and where they've come from. That's where we had a problem with taking over the road. Other words, Kingsbury and Fort Edward would work together because this is beneficial for all. But now there's a lot of old wounds there.
Yeah, we'll ask.
So,
Well, for that state grant. the federal gas.
Well, yes, something to do with the president's fund. We never quite got it deciphered as to where it's coming from or going
I
to.
mean, could be mentioned, there is state money out there to, court.
And it's all through it's all through
Don't have a government.
the economic development.
so at this point, that money that's, you're using as a fundamental discussion point for this future potential project is not guaranteed. And is not, we don't know how much it is.
It's budgeted. We don't
And
know where it's going, but I know they're gonna have a meeting and figure it out here in the very near future.
Right. And even if they have that meeting, we understand that the governor did put clawback provision that money could disappear at any point as well, correct? Clawback is not the term,
Well,
political term.
I assume it's tied to our opportunities through there at the moment. If those opportunities come to
Yeah.
fruition, the money probably comes to fruition.
And then not only are we, so this entire project is on Canal Corps land, so not only. So how the IGA would influence that or take lead is an interest, it's just a point for me, because not only are we talking about the building of it, then you've got to talk about who's maintaining it and who owns it and who winterizes it.
It may not be with the IDA takes a lead, but I think with the discussion to bring it up,
Great.
this is ideal for our park and our economic development. I think it's very important at this juncture, when we got them at the table, looking at the temporary road, it should never happen again if we had an actual through road.
So as a theory to plant the seeds, I would agree in the discussion point, but for the IDA to take lead.
No, I agree with that.
All right.
No,
All right, so we've got the train.
Already an IGA project. This is on our
All right.
property.
It may not be, correct, except we own the road.
Well,
It's
we-
there so far.
No, we don't own the road. They own
From the gates east. they
from the
own-
gate, yes.
Right, but we own the other end of the road. That's what I'm
That part we
talking
own,
about.
yes.
Yeah,
And we should be partners working together,
to
but each state department seems to have their own kingdom. And it's hard to get any of them to work together.
And to add on to the strategic situation, Canal Corp is using that wharf for more and more work. Maybe there's benefits for them too.
Well, there's a huge benefit for everything.
More property and extending the road. So again, we can ask the question. I just think we got time against us and funding. If we can,
Well, like I said, you might still need the temporary part. I agree with that. But I think in the going forward, and basically where you said, you don't cut off your nose to spite your face 10 years down the road. Let's make the project be the, let's have some
it could be
foresight.
another enhancement that we work on.
Yeah.
Foresight.
And it also can give us, the green area, the bike trails, the whole bit along the canal where people can enjoy it. If you actually did that all at once and processed it all at once, you got opportunities that you've never had before.
Yeah, but
Go ahead.
this is Canal Corps land, we're creating all these great ideas for an entity that's not ours. That's the concern I have here, now we went from just the road to now we're gonna do park stuff and we're gonna, so I'm just, at this point, what we can control is planting the bug that there's a possibility that the county, if they receive this funding and if that funding sticks, that there's a possibility to create something that enhances all of our
You have to show them that it's advantageous to them. That's where I was going with that.
We have the evidence. We have the evidence at the county building from Warren County to 149, any day of the week.
So if that funding comes to fruition and it gets executed to account, who owns that funding?
We're gonna figure that out. I mean, that's, like you said, until
Jim, please, jump in.
I suggest make inquiries.
We can make inquiries to see the initial reaction and just explain the strategic value and see what they say. It's, as we were talking, it's evolving to two separate projects. We need the temporary access by March 26th, right? So we're working on that, but then maybe there's an opportunity to extend down the canal to connect into a road, so we take some traffic off the village streets and have a more direct access to the site as opposed to coming to the north. Okay.
Good, alrighty.
Okay, thank you.
Look at the future.
Okay, moving on to canal maintenance updates. The Grasshopper Group continues to remove over 35 pounds of brush. They're about halfway done on that project. As far as canal side tenant activity, I actually have 4 updates. First, as reported at our special meeting last 2 Wednesdays, or 2 weeks ago, CHPE is going to be discontinuing their soil operations. Final inspection with our consultant is underway. When this operation ceases, which we believe will be June, we'll then no longer receive rent of $8,600 per month. So that rental income will probably end in July. Yep.
Who's is CBRE the realtor for that?
Yes, they work, we got it in place.
Can we make sure we give them a heads up? I don't know.
Yeah.
Because we don't wanna, if there is a 30-day clause, we need them to tell CHPE what, how to officially start that 30-day clause.
Okay, good. Continuing on, Berkshire Hathaway Blake Realty has identified a new party interested in outside. They are starting their due diligence. It's very early. More to come, but I just want to make you aware we do have formal interest coming from one realtor to our realtor, and we're starting to understand the situation. And once we do, then we can come to the board, talk about what the opportunity is. Third, we already, as you know, have another party already interested in the site, and we're just waiting to hear back from that party we've been talking to for several months now. And then as far as Dan Bruno's idea of the clean fill on-site, Kiowa continues to be interested in possibly taking that clean fill to backfill some of these trenches they've done with the power line. And that's it on the tenant updates, unless there are any questions. Moving on to the airport industrial park, I have 3 updates. You might recall Rotary has expressed interest in some of our 20-acre site at the airport industrial park 2, 20-acre site. I talked with my contact today. They are going to do a letter of interest within the next couple of weeks. They have a board meeting coming up. They didn't have a quorum at their last board meeting, so they couldn't get it done there. Hopefully that quorum at the upcoming board meeting, and we'll have a letter of interest from that group. We're talking about a tree farm and an education center. They realize they have a lot of work to do to vet this out, but they just wanted to let us know that they are interested in that property.
County board gonna take it, is that what you're saying?
No, this is Rotary. Rotary, and it's a sort of a regional, it's not just one Rotary group in the area, they're all working together on this project. Second, Berkshire Hathaway Blake Realty has another new party interested in the Ferguson Lane extension. That party is doing their due diligence, but they're aware of the wetlands issue we have there. And so they're looking for us to get clearance from DEC. And there's a little correspondence today on that. That's my 3rd item, that we are in the process of scheduling a meeting with DEC staff.
They're interested in separate parcels, right? The Rotary, what was the same person?
No, they're interested in the 8 lots is 26 acres, 18 developable under the old wetland rules, 13 developable under the new wetland rules. Our issue is the new wetland rule require a buffer that cut off access from the road.
Right, so what I was trying to decipher though, which one is the rotary a different property?
So
They're
this
different properties. That's all I'm trying to show. Yeah.
Sorry.
So that's good.
This is developable Ferguson Lane, at 26 years. I think Ferguson Lane. And that's it, unless there are any questions about the parks.
Just for Airport Park, for everybody's edification, the developable section is one area, the 20 acres, the second area, then we have that final area down below in Airport Park. Is
Correct.
that the
So-
final three remaining?
Correct, and the areas that Rotary are looking at are heavily wetland impacted. One southern project, southern lot, and the northern lot, right near where Hilltop recently purchased property from us.
And so we're still waiting to hear exactly how we're affected by the movements.
On Ferguson Lane.
They haven't clarified that totally.
Well, these are new rules with the DEC, so we were going to DEC to see if they'll give us a waiver on buffer so we can have access to develop. If we don't have access to develop land, it should be virtually worthless.
What's on the back end, on the east side of that park? Is it,
There's a farm back there.
it's a farm, so it's not a road back there
Colwell
anywhere?
has north of us. Yeah, there's a farm back there.
Okay, so there's no road close by that we can go to plan B?
Well, if the farmer is interested in doing it, farmer could expand.
But there, I mean, as far as access.
Yeah.
Might have to grow rights.
Got it.
What's that?
You might have to grow rights.
Cranberries? Little bog, cranberries?
What's the number? Okay, that's it. I think, any questions on the parks?
No questions this time. I'd say it to you again. I think what's been done at the airport is good for, somehow we need to have pictures. This great place that we have now, and that's a good site.
Yeah.
And it's also something for the other side of the street, because there's gonna be companies coming there. And we have now places where they can bring in their big planes to our place, this nice place over here. I just tie it together. That's,
And I'll also just add on that Berkshire Hathaway is doing a lot of very good marketing. for
Yes.
that.
Good, all right. Anything else for the report of committees? All right, moving on, let's go to ongoing business, BHP management update. We have closed on that sale, so that is complete. MSP recommendation, Chuck.
Okay, in your package, was a few documents from ADK Techs, and let me step back and say as a reminder that we talked about this a couple board meetings ago. As we grow as an organization, we realize there's an opportunity for our IT operation, including cybersecurity backup. We've had a hodgepodge of things develop over the past few years. So we have engaged what we call MSP, managed service providers, who come in and will upgrade the system, make sure it's safe, and make sure we have proper backup. We've talked with 3 companies. We've talked with ADK Tech, StoreTech, and AD Net. And we have 3 different quotes. AD Net came in, and I will say that we ended up looking at this over a 3-year period because there's an upfront fee and then annual fee. So when you look at AD Net over 3 years, the total cost is about $47,000. When you looked at ADK Tech, total cost is about $33,000. You look at StoreTech, after an adjustment for a service that the training service that they did not include, it's about $28,000. We also then looked at the company and it fit with us, and also went and did some reference checks. We received many favorable reference checks for ADK Tech, particularly from Saratoga Economic Development Group that is now working. They recently did exactly what we're looking to do, and that is sort of upgrade the systems to today's standards. And they've been very pleased with the service. They're about a year into the service. So our recommendation from the group that's been dealing with this, Ally, myself, Ron and Tim, is to go with ADK Tech. Even though they're slightly more expensive, we believe they're the better fit for us as an organization. And again, we've had glowing reference checks from other companies. So we will need board approval to award the contract to ADK Tech. This first year cost for ADK Tech is expected to be slightly over $11,000.
We're all three within Warren, Washington County.
Great question. ADK Tech is in Argyle. StoreTech is both in Queensbury and in North Carolina. And ADNet is more based out of Albany. They're a very big company of adding companies. They're the powerhouse, but they're also very, very expensive compared to the other two. So that's another reason we like ADK Tech, because they're Washington County based.
Great. With that, I will entertain a motion to accept the ADK Tech proposal with the CEO signing the document. Brian,
I'll say.
second. Nick. Roll call vote, Alan.
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Jenny Sullivan,
Yes.
Nick Carmano,
Yes.
Kevin Mahoney,
Yes.
Jim Nolan,
Yes.
John Tafflin,
Yes.
Tim Robinson,
Yes.
Juan Gonzalez.
Yes,
Motion passes.
thank you. Moving on to the social media intern.
We've had two candidates that we've interviewed. One we were particularly interested in. We have asked our current social interns to interview. She has, we'll be meeting with her this week. We are still waiting for a few more candidates, so it's ongoing. We hope to have someone in place sometime this summer. Nice thing is our current summer intern or social media intern has said to us she's going to work a little longer, so we're not pressed to find someone quick. We can take our time to make sure we find the right person. And hopefully someone that just doesn't work over the summer, but hopefully someone that works for a year like our current intern has worked for us. And Ally, anything to add on to that?
No,
That's
we're getting there.
We're getting
Is our current intern had you put this to?
Yeah, no, has interviewed one of our candidates and very favorable things to say. So
I think that helps because she's probably more knowledgeable about what we're talking about.
Yes,
Ally and I
definitely. Yeah.
Because then they can talk about us openly, so hopefully that's worked.
We'll take it out.
So more to come on the social media intern at the next meeting, hopefully.
great. Anybody have anything else for ongoing business? All right, moving on to new business, Rand Entertainment change in business ownership, Alan.
Yes, so Rand Entertainment, they have sold their company, the trampoline company. They still retain ownership of the property and the pilot. There is just a new business that is taking over, and the new business is going to be my contact as far as employee count goes for our annual reporting. But Rand Entertainment is still considered the contact for property taxes and everything like that. So in Kara's absence, I do have the reason why this is being presented to the board. She says it's up to the board if you guys want to meet the new operator of the business, or if you want additional information about them, or if you're okay just consenting to the lease that is under different control than the original applicant, which would be Rand Entertainment. So it's up to you what you guys would like to do with this information.
Owner instead of the new owner already owns other Sky Zones. So the person that's taking over for the local owner is also owner of other Sky Zones. So we're not doing a flat on that operation.
Good question. How far along are we in that lease?
We have 1 more year pilot, 1 to 2 more years.
For Rand Entertainment,
Yeah.
I think you're thinking of the other one. I believe they're halfway through.
Maybe 5 years.
As long as it's the same group we're working with and they meet their obligation. I don't know that. Because when you have no authority over a new business that isn't obligated to us, I don't know what purpose that would serve.
Then we don't believe they're qualified to run the operation. then we can express. our
Right,
concern.
that doesn't seem
It
to be a
doesn't seem to
concern.
be this year.
We need a vote or?
Maybe just a voice vote that you guys are okay with
All right.
this new business taking over?
Motion. Just accept the Rand Entertainment, change in business ownership. Jim, second, Brian, all in favor?
Okay.
Great. Motion carries. All right, sponsorship for an ARCC event, Chuck.
So last week, we received an email from ARCC about sponsorship opportunities. As you may recall, we did do a sponsorship with chocolate dinner. And I actually received a couple comments from people noticed that we did sponsorship. We do, IDA and ARCC cover the same area, these counties. So when we received this email last night, or last week, we talked about, well, perhaps we do a sponsorship for the Business Award Breakfast on October 2nd. So there's first a question is, does the board feel comfortable for us doing the sponsorship? And secondly, we have an option of 500, 750, 1,000, or 1,500. I don't recommend we necessarily go for the highest sponsorship, but we can do anything from $500 to $1,000. So with that, I'll ask if any feedback on us doing sponsorship with ARCC.
Do we know anything? Well, our legal clerk is, or, you know, what are we allowed to do with that? Is it a
This
sort
is
of
our marketing awareness of what we do for our community and association with other people and organizations. So we've already done a sponsorship, which Tara was aware of, so I don't think there's any issue with us continuing the sponsorship.
Bill's getting advertised? I think it's a great idea. As you say, the advertising. It's clientele that we're working with, so I would say go for 5 or 7.
John?
Gold.
Sponsorship, what is the gold sponsorship? again?
The goal is 1,000.
Yeah, I'd be supportive. of that. That gets you a little bit more, I'd be supportive.
All right, anybody have a different perspective?
Do you have enough advertising material to hand out at that breakfast?
We have a brochure,
Articles, whatever,
exactly, and we have hundreds and hundreds, so the answer is yes, that's a great idea.
and you'll be attending.
We don't plan, we'll be at the event, yes. Yeah,
The October event?
yes, it's a
Okay.
breakfast award. I don't think they're gonna have, they probably will have a table in which sponsors can put something down, so we certainly put the brochures down. That'd be a
Maybe
great
the
idea.
one with our newest member that I just saw on LinkedIn would be a good one to send.
It looked pretty good, got a couple thumbs up, I think, too. Did you see it? Did you see what Brian's referred to in LinkedIn? We actually bragged that we have a new board member on LinkedIn, so I'm sorry.
Picture, and nice, so we should set them in every plate.
Apparently, you gotta see it, thumbs up.
We got a thumbs up.
Well, thumbs down.
Yeah. All right, since, with that, I will entertain a motion to accept the, approve the gold sponsorship for the ARCC Business Awards breakfast.
ARCC, what?
Business Awards breakfast.
Business awarded breakfast on October 2nd.
Okay.
Jim's first, second, Tim. Roll call vote, Holly, please.
Brian Campbell.
Yeah.
Jenny Sullivan. Nick Caimano.
Yes.
Kevin Mahoney.
Yes.
Jim Nolan.
Yes.
John Tafflin.
Yes.
Tim Robinson.
Yes.
Juan Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Moving on, we'll talk to Chuck Manners.
One other issue, at our special meeting, about 2 Wednesdays ago, there was discussion about putting a banner at the ADK REI site for construction, so WIDA. We asked, the owners, and they diplomatically explained that the construction is gonna be back of the existing buildings. And they're trying not to be disruptive to the current tenants, so they're not putting signs on the apartments in off of Laverne Road for the courtesy of the tenants, and they put signs in back, but nobody would see the signs in back. So that's the bad news. The good news is our chairman had an idea of what about the other projects that are underway? And we reached out to 3 projects and we're all willing to hang our banner. One being FW Web on Corinth Road.
Yep.
The other being HQ powder coating on Route 1, on Route 4. That's Route 4, right next to the Champlain beef facility on the other side of the road. So we'll have good exposure there. Yeah.
So you're not told. Sorry about that.
We're actually talking to see if we can help them, but that's the next topic. And the third location will be up in North Creek at the Copperfield Inn, which is going to be renamed. But as you recall, Weekender Hotels had bought that property and just renovated that property. And they were all eager to be able to put their sign. I actually went to the FW Web's site today and saw the signs. They had Arrow up and they had construction companies and they were good sized signs. So I think we could actually do about a 6-foot banner at that location. And we'll see about the size of the banner at the other locations.
And have a good picture of the staff on the.
What we're gonna do is our logo,
Just the logo.
promoting local investment.
And you want us,
Keeping it simple.
well, yeah, you'd want it to be exactly what we advertise,
Yeah, right.
the brand, you want the brand up.
Want the brand out, the logo, yeah, so.
They try to get it, I feel like they get it.
Because put you out there.
No. I don't have the hair to go over there.
No, they have Arrow. Arrow signs from there. With green, I don't know if there was, this is FW Web.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Arrow,
Financing that program.
the Arrow sign was at the site.
I wonder if it's for
It might have been
native.
native doing the original work
Yeah.
on the site.
Was
That's probably what it was.
that doing site?
They are.
Well, I'm thinking about it. They don't think about how the color is and carry that through with everything we do.
We're pushing the logo everywhere we can.
How many signs are you looking at? Did you get a cost?
3. I'm working with West Signs right now. And I've asked them for a quote for 2 6-foot long signs and 2 4-foot long signs. So with grommets. The Copperfield was 4 foot. FW Road is 6 foot, and I think the powder coating company can take 6 foot if they have a fence to hang it off. So more to come. I think this will be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, good stuff. That's it on the banners, unless there are any
You know,
other questions.
Wouldn't like war wash idea. Warren Washington.
That just says WWID.
No, that's logo that I put on my email where it says WWIDA. It says Warren Washington IDA. There, is that there? It says it, and underneath it says promote local
Yeah.
investment. So it's going to have Warren Washington.
Nick wants
Phone number.
Washington first, then Morgan. is what they say.
Oh, I'll ask them.
No, ours comes before that.
Website. Okay.
So we gotta let me see what I can do about that.
Yeah.
Speak up.
He's still on before one. He's still on the gold plan. Don't even
So
say.
good, all right,
Okay, that's it.
moving on, and
Okay,
we're doing great on time, let's go move the staff reports for the CEO.
okay. I'll try to be quick. This is a report out from May 20th to June 16th. I feel like I'm on May 21st and 23rd. I attended the New York State Economic Development Council annual meeting in Cooperstown. The breakout sessions I went to or seminars included best practices, industrial park build-outs. Bottom line there is good cooperation amongst all the stakeholders in your community. Then I went to one about LinkedIn and called Content That Clicks, and it talked about actually the popularity of drone videos and also targeting site selectors. Then there was a keynote speaker, Erica Orange, who's a futurist, trend analyst, and author of AI, the New Human Fact Frontier. And I think Juan has the book.
Still reading it, still reading it.
Is it good?
It's good.
Yeah, so it's always interesting to see a keynote speaker like that. Then the next morning, there was a breakout breakfast chat with New York energy policy as a theme. They had Basil Seagos, former DEC commissioner, Galvin Donahue, CEO of the Independent Power Producers of New York, and a Richard Dewey, CEO of New York Independent System Operators. So we had all the right people in the room, and we had 200 people, and these guys were going back and forth about the issues of the development versus environmental issues and regulations. Quite a lively discussion. And obviously a bit more look towards pro development. But there are significant challenges ahead, both with the generation and distribution, as we're all aware of. The next event I went to was a seminar on cannabis and what's happening in the cannabis industry. It's finally, after fumbling around a little bit, starting to gain some traction. The next event I went to was strategic considerations for siting data centers in New York State. And I can say now with complete confidence that Canal Side is not large enough to be a data center. Most data centers are up to 20 times larger, both in power and site power consumption. Our Canal Side consumes 10 megawatts of power. These other ones are like 220, 230, 250 megawatts. And there's a site out in Western New York between Rochester and Buffalo that has 1,800 acres. And our site, as you know, is only 80 acres. So bottom line, you need a big site, you need power, and you need water, and you need distance from your neighbors because they have that backup generation power. And when you throw on those generators, they're really loud, especially when you have generators that push 200 megawatts. So I was hoping Canal Side would qualify, but we clearly didn't qualify. And what I've learned from Mr. Teflon is you've done a data center, right? You mentioned that, and you said that they were huge.
Yeah,
Huge.
1 mile from one end to the other of the complex.
Yeah.
Pretty big.
So we'll find other purposes for Canal Side. And then finally, there is a breakfast on Friday morning. We have a person from the Federal Reserve talk about the economy and market. And of course, the main one is volatility. There's nothing but a lot of volatility right now. That will probably continue. So that's it as far as the report out. I don't know if you have anything else to.
Just one, there was, I've always said these events are great for picking the brains of other IGAs and learning what they're doing and how we can implement that with us. But Empire State Development did have a fireside chat with their leadership there, and they're the group that runs the Fast New York program, and they were very blunt that from the point that a developer or a company buys the site to when utilities are ready is too long. New York State is one of the worst. And if you have a site, you have to get that gap covered now before the developers are interested, because that is a deal breaker many times. And so as we continue to work with Canal Side, getting the utilities in place now for the size of company that we're looking to attract has to happen, or else we're gonna continue to fall on the wait side once they get into the short list of land sites. So we welcome, regardless of what happens with Canal Side over the next 2 months with the current interest, we will continue to put the foot on the gas so we can get all the utilities there to attract the business that we want for that site.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on May 28th, I attended a webinar called Foreign Trade Zone Opportunities. And now with all the tariffs going on, these foreign trade zones for certain situations are becoming more of an opportunity. So as we market Canal Side, if somebody is going to be bringing material in and then exporting it, and it's not going to be sold in the US, it's an opportunity for us. Obviously, it's just good to know about foreign trade zones. I don't know if I find the right fit, but that was a very interesting webinar. Then on May 29th, I was in Greenwich, met with the mayor and with the chamber president and consultant talking about development along the river there. It's called Dunbarton Mills. It's an old industrial site. They have some asbestos. It's going to be cleaned up, and then they're looking to do a major development, and they're looking to bring a private developer. So I was in your room representing us if we can do with a private developer. It's a long ways off, but they're working hard to try to get that site back up and running.
Do you feel that's a significant opportunity?
I do, but I think it's a good 5 to 10 years off. They're doing eminent domain to get the site, then they have to clean up the site, then they have to do the engineering for conceptual work, and then they have to find the funding. So it's a long-term project, but it could be a really meaningful project for Greenwich, given how so many people are attracted to it. It's a great school system, great charming little town. So it could go, but there's just a lot in front of them before the theater off the ground.
It's a little history,
gonna say Hockensack County on 5S. I believe where Tractor Supply has their distribution center. And when we toured that, say 4 years ago, it was almost completed. The IDA had owned that for 30 years. And it's just a monster project that sometimes they do take time, but the foresight is what's important to get there. And if you got a group that's willing to work at it, it may not happen when we're here, but part of this IDA thing, well, it does for the next group too. So I think we need to keep those things in mind.
Yeah, those things, through the years, the administration, the elected officials will change, so you need a group that keeps it going as administrations change, elected officials come and go.
But think of what that land probably cost 30 years ago, what it would cost today.
Yeah.
It was actually a good investment, you know, but they held it a long time.
Okay, I see here, I did attend at Fort William Henry back on June 5th. The Warren County EDC hosted a seminar with New York State ESD as far as common funding application kickoff process. There's no application that affects us, or opportunity affects us at the time. It is good to understand the funding mechanisms out of Albany, so I did find that to be very beneficial. Attended the triple chamber mixer at Sagamore back on June 10th. That was very well attended. And I actually toured on June 13th. There's a company called New York Distillery that has bought the property at 1079 State Route 9. Between the old Agway building and miniature golf. I don't think there'll be an applicant of ours in the near term, but they are thinking about a phase 2. So we might have opportunity to work with that company in the future. As far as engagements year to date, there's been 27. We have 6 in manufacturing distribution, 3 in tourism and rec, 2 in hotel and resort, 1 in food and beverage, 3 in mixed, 5 in housing, 1 in energy, 1 in medical, and 5 in other. Of those 27, 7 are expected to be applicants in 2025. 3 are expected to be applicants in 2026. 8 are unknown, and 9 will probably not be applicants. And finally, with the pipeline list, right now with the pipeline list, we have 18 projects. We have 6 in hotel and resort. We have 1 in tourism and recreation. We have 3 in manufacturing, 5 in housing, 2 in mixed use, and 1 in beverage, food and beverage. Of those, we have 1 that's sort of been accepted, but we're waiting to advance that application. That's the Town Place Suites with Marriott Exit 19 Lodging. They are now talking with Queen Period Planning Board and will probably be coming back to us to advance that application sometime in the latter half of the 3rd quarter. We also have 4 applications that are being worked on. Something new, we had a call from Chris Patton. He's a developer in Glens Falls. He's already doing a project across from the new public building that just had ribbon cutting on South Street. He is looking to do another housing development further down South Street at Broad Street. It is 100% residential. Glens Falls IDA cannot do 100% residential. So Glens Falls IDA has sent them our way, and Patton Development is working on an application. We probably receive it in the next couple of weeks and probably be up for possible acceptance at our July board meeting. So it's come up.
He sends them to us.
Well, when they can't handle them and they agree with the project. So probably,
That's it.
yeah,
That's
they
right.
agree with the project.
They sent us one other project last.
Yeah, they did. And they do mixed use residential, but they can't do 100%. So we'll be getting that
How
application.
much can and they can't.
It's because of their UTEP. Our UTEP
It's their own,
recognizes,
okay.
yeah, their own UTEP does recognize
Does.
housing.
And we would put some criteria in there for workforce housing.
We'll
Same
look
criteria.
at the application and make adjustment on that, yeah. Some applications with housing, we have the criteria, some we have not, so that's every application we have to evaluate that. Okay.
Yeah, if you're looking at speed for the application, you need to make sure the municipalities. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and it's actually, Jeff Flag from Glens Falls Economic Development who sent them our way, so he's aware of it, the mayor's aware of it.
So when you're updating these, this who's coming from, this we've approved some of them. Where are we like with, the space at Hudson Headwaters? Like, has that moved forward? Is that about to be up and running?
When you say the space of Hudson Waters,
The space where they did the imaging, right?
JWP Radiology. Yeah, that project is nearing completion. The building's been done. They've been receiving equipment. So, that should probably come online.
I mean, I think it's important that we hear about those things that come online,
We-
but I guess I jumped the
We can
gun.
circle back. Recently approved. I don't have all the information now. We can certainly do that.
And then we do that annually, are you looking for that quarterly?
Whereas they come online, I think it's important that everyone knows that what we approve actually happens.
That's a great idea.
I just think that I think it shows up, like if somebody's watching us, is thinking about coming to us, if they say, wow, they made that happen, you know, I think it helps.
Yeah, and honestly, we know the status of these projects, so it's just a communication issue, so we can easily communicate that for rates.
Is this the one on Blackbird Road?
Yeah.
Yeah, I went there. They're working.
Well, what they have is they have the original side to the right, to the west, where they're doing is the south, it's the east side to the left that they're expanding.
It's the Kayamano wing that they're working on.
I broke it. But back to my projects that I was explaining, we have of those 18 projects, we have 4 that are possible for 2026. We have 9 that are still exploring, no commitment. That's a total of 18, and we've had over 13 projects for one reason or another that have decided not to advance. So with that, that's my report out.
Great,
Good work.
any final questions for our CDO? All right, moving on to administrator.
I only have one update. I just wanted to let you know, we have 3 projects that have to pay village taxes. We've got Greenwich Preservation. We have the new 73 Main Street, which was originally part of Greenwich Preservation, and we have Fort William Henry. And village tax bills were sent out at the beginning of the month. They have till the end of the month to pay it, and I have not received any payments thus far. That's all I have. A lot of them like to wait till the last minute, so I'm not worried. It seems to be a trend. I do, yes. A reminder, not just a friendly reminder. Yeah.
All right, any public comments? Do you have anybody from the public online?
We do not.
With that, I'll, we still have to stay for the CDC meeting for nobody to run out.
Just one question.
Yes, sir.
Some of us were on an email about tax assessments. Any chance we could bring in, the assessor and our real property person and actually?
Yeah,
Us,
let's talk about that after the meeting.
Okay, I was just hoping that we could put them in a meeting where we would all understand certain things about what we do and how it affects their world, because they would like us to take in consideration some things and not want to go and care of it. Because maybe some of the things they're asking for aren't legal for us to do too. So,
Right.
and I don't know if it's better in this meeting or if it's better in the executive meeting. I don't know where it belongs. I just want us to look. Because if we could do things better, it's better for all of us.
So to catch up everybody, since Brian brought it up, was one assessor from Washington County, which is from Fort Ann, that has the parking time on a pilot that has been going on for how long?
Yeah, it's done January 23rd.
9 years?
Yeah, it's been going on for 9 years, so it's, again, you know, as you mentioned before, as people come in and people come out, their viewpoint of rules and regulations change. So what we're gonna do is initially we'll have Kara meet with the town attorney as well as the assessor, and then figure out what it is, the interpretation is. Again, the challenge is, you know, as we have people come and go, we've got 18 counties in Washington, almost equal enough counties in Warren County, and in every assessor, we want to give them their just due. So we will start with the lawyers first, and then as we, if there's resolution before the next board, we'll bring it to the board and make that the resolution public for everybody.
His idea is a good one. Why don't you have at your Wednesday,
Yeah.
have a breakfast meeting for those two people as it. Learn something.
Just explain, just so that our policies are in line with what
Go
is
to,
legal and what they are referring to, because it may make us better. Well, I think.
Yeah, so I think it might help us.
Yes, so that's why Kara is meeting with the town attorney as well as the assessor. Again, without both of those in the room at the same time, then it's just, everybody's got the perspective. We need the lawyers and the assessors in the room at the same time.
And it might be that everything's done accurate. We have no reason to believe it's not. So that's the,
Yes.
but if
we have
we,
some reason.
but if we can just streamline it to know.
Yeah.
That whatever we have for a policy makes it so it's always streamlined, it's never an issue, that would be the best outcome we could have.
Does our treasurer do the work properly? Oh, sorry.
And that's why the lawyers and the assessors will meet first with, put any questions that we have, and then we'll take it.
Yeah.
Anything else, Chuck?
No.
Good. All right, anything else? All right, with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the idea meeting. Jim, second. John, all in favor?
No.
All right, we are adjourned. All right, I will entertain a motion I call to order the counties of Warren and Washington Civil Development Corporation meeting on 16 June at 5:11 p.m. Roll call, Ally.
Brian Campbell,
Yeah.
Jenny Sullivan, Nick Caimano,
Here.
Kevin Mahoney, Jim Nolan,
Here.
John Toughlin,
Here.
Tim Robinson,
Here.
Juan Gonzalez.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Great. In the meeting packet, everybody, the minutes of the May 19th CDC meeting. I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes. Brian, second. Nick, all in favor? Motion carries. All right, we'll turn it over to treasurer for approval of the table.
Yeah, we've got one payable on $2,400 to EFCR, our financial auditor. For audited services for 2024 that we're looking for approval. This alley that will be reflected in the next financial statement, right?
That's correct.
I'll move it.
Great. I will entertain a motion. Nick, first, second. Jim? Roll call vote, Alan, please.
Brian Campbell, Jenny Sullivan, Nick Caimano,
Yes.
Kevin Mahoney,
Yes.
Jim Nolan,
Yes.
John Toughlin,
Yes.
Tim Robinson, Juan Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great.
We also have a CD coming due, it came due. $50,000, but for the interest is now $51,046.12. We have already issued an approval to review that. But we didn't have rates at the time, so sharing rates with you and looking for approval to renew it at these rates. It matured on June 10th. It has a going forward rate for 6 months of 3.95, APR with an APY of 3.99. That's down from 4.2,
Yeah, I believe so.
but it is still one of the better rates. Check with other local banks, it's still the better short-term interest rate. So we're looking for an okay to renew that CD at 3.95 APR and the yield 3.99.
Was that a 3-month or 6 months? 6 months. Okay.
And then we look at year, like a 1 year and a 2 year. Just
Sure.
good. Yeah.
All right, entertain a motion to approve the CD with Brian, second. Jim?
And that's with Arrowback.
All right, roll call vote, Alex.
Brian Campbell.
Yeah.
Jenny Sullivan. Nick Caimano,
Yes.
Kevin Mahoney, Jim Nolan,
Yes.
John Toughlin,
Yes.
Tim Robinson, Juan Gonzalez. Motion passes.
The reason why we went to the CD is because we do have that annual audit expense and we don't have revenue coming in from the CDC, so That covers about 2,000 of the $2,400, so we're almost where we need to be to make CDC self-sustaining, and we don't bleed the cash that we do have in there. Good. Anything else? Tim?
We have the balance sheet, the income statement. The income statement is zero. We haven't had any income or expense in the CDC in 25, and the balance sheet is all cash between the CD of 50, now 51, and a checking account of 14. No liabilities or total equity. 54,000.
Yes.
All right, then I will entertain a motion to approve the financial report. Nick, second. Jim. We'll call vote, Alex.
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Jenny Sullivan.
Yeah.
Nick Caamano,
Yeah.
Kevin Mahoney.
Yes.
Jim Nolan,
Yes.
John Tafflin.
Yes.
Tim Robinson,
Yes.
Juan Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion passes.
With that, I'll open it up.
Well, I have a former baseball team to play at 7:15, so I.
Perfect. Any public comments? Do we have anybody from the public online?
We do not.
With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the CDC meeting. Nick, second. Brian, all in favor? Motion adjourned. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, team. Appreciate everybody.
70 years old and we.